Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and the CTKS method. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back CTKS family. My goal is to assist you in becoming more of a financial and emotional blessing to yourself and those you love through positive excellence. If you like the content, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. We have one of the best communities on YouTube. We look forward to welcoming you into our global family. There are a lot of free resources on CTKSMethod.org. The link is in the description of this video. Let's see where the markets are going in the next 24 hours. And let's run the numbers. If you're interested in getting a partial scholarship to the Profiting from CTKS Method Structure course, please reach out to me at ctksmethod@gmail.com. You'll find incredible content in here that you won't see anywhere else. And just a quick update, those lovely people at X, I changed my profile and I changed the description and I got my account suspended even though I'm a paid member. I'm currently appealing things, but you can see I've got 0 followers at the current time. Good on you, X. Thank you very much. I guess they just didn't like "your success is my mission." I'm yet to hear anything back from them. The FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, is going to meet in less than 24 hours. And what's the probability of a rate cut? It's currently 0.5%. There's a 99.5% probability of absolutely no change. What are the markets going to do with this? In the past 24 hours, the US Consumer Confidence Index dropped to a 4-month low. Breaking the report down a little bit, you can see the US Consumer Confidence Index actually fell. People are saying it's harder to get a job, and less families are expecting incomes to increase. And the share that say that business conditions are good literally dropped off a cliff back to November. In the markets in the past 48 hours, they came down supposedly because of DeepSeek, a Chinese AI program to rival ChatGPT. Don't forget, the news is backwards looking. The charts tell you the truth, so let's go and check out the charts. Looking to row 1, which is the VIX, the DXY, dollar yen, 10-year, 2-year, and oil. We saw a huge spike up inside the VIX in the past 48 hours that then absolutely and utterly retraced. The blue line is Bitcoin, but don't forget this is inverted. The big number's at the bottom and the little number is at the top. We're looking for directional correlation, and this is a 30-minute chart. Sometimes when you zoom in, it doesn't look like there is an association, but if we zoom out a little bit, it's pretty damn obvious that there's an inverted association between Bitcoin, the blue line, and the VIX, the DXY, dollar yen, the 10-year, the 2-year, and oil. One of the things that we saw in the past 24 hours in the past trading session, we saw the VIX come down. That pushed Bitcoin and the stock market up. Now, we have to understand, with the FOMC meeting coming through, the focus will be on inflation. Is inflation under control? If it's not, the 10-year and the 2-year will be expected to rise, as also the DXY and dollar yen. How could that happen? In the FOMC meeting, they would basically say, we're just going to keep rates where they are. Or we're going to do fewer rate cuts. This would put positive price momentum into the 10-year, the 2-year, and also DXY and dollar yen combos. It would also see a spiking of the VIX if that happens. Therefore, get prepared for volatility. This spike may not have been DeepSeek after all. It could have been the FOMC. But can all the mainstream marketing news is talking about, it must be DeepSeek. There has to be something to explain this crack in the concrete. They just go looking for it. What about the unwinding of the Japanese curry trade? Or is that carry trade? What about commercial real estate? They have so many things that they can just poke a stick at. Do not get sucked in, just look at the charts. Masterclass students, now is a good time to revisit TM4 and look at inflation expectations. We've seen the 10-year and the 5-year break-even inflation rates coming up, annual inflation also. Risk-on asset classes such as Bitcoin and stocks tend to do well in inflationary environments because inflation inflates prices, it pumps them up. Also, we can see that M1 money stock and M2 money stock are both increasing. Now, technically, if the Fed wants to bring these down, it can only do so by bringing interest rates up. And you can see over time, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is coming up and up and up and up. It always goes up. That's why monetary alternatives such as Bitcoin and gold are very, very valuable. At times like this, it pays to zoom out a little, and Masterclass students just refer to LV19, this particular chart. We can see that China's market has been quite depressed recently. It's starting to show signs of life, which is always a good thing. Russia's economic system is starting to improve as well. We can also see in the Russell 2000 signs of weakness. Therefore, the pullbacks that we're getting inside Bitcoin and the Nasdaq seem very plausible at the current time. And if you've been through week 2 of the profiting from CTKS method structure, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The Dow has done really well with the rotation out of the Nasdaq. The markets are definitely at a critical time. We need to see upward price momentum start to get back into these indices. And of course, we'll be looking at Bitcoin because that is the canary in the coal mine. Bitcoin experiences risk on or risk off first. Looking through your cheat sheet is really important. Let's have a look at row 2, which are junk bonds, the euro dollar, the Aussie dollar, gold, silver, and copper. When we look at what happened in the past 48 hours, we got this big spike in the VIX, which recovered very, very quickly in terms of junk bonds. And what have we seen since there? Some degree of upward momentum inside the stock market, but inside crypto, yes, we had a bit of a retrace, but it's kind of stalling out at the current time, so we'll need to look more deeply. What about the euro dollar? It's on the way down. The Aussie dollar on the way down. What does this mean? The US dollar is strengthening and dollar yen is strengthening as well. Gold staged a really good rebound, but we see all the time that gold and Bitcoin do tend to move together. Silver as well, copper as well. Looking into the futures, the index futures, they don't look too bad actually. We're seeing some upward price momentum in terms of the Russell 2000 futures, and that's a pretty damn important one to keep your eye on. Just to add a little bit more on that, you can see that Bitcoin and the S&P 500 futures, they pretty much overlaid each other. What about the Nasdaq? Yep. Absolutely, the Russell 2000 and the Dow. The Dow has been particularly strong. There's a potential rotation out of the Nasdaq into the Dow, just something to keep in mind. But what we're looking at here is the Russell 2000. That is showing signs of life. If this continues to move up, we would expect Bitcoin and the entirety of the crypto space to move up with it. Keep your eyes on it. Now, is the probability of moving up in the next 24 hours? Well, currently it is, and we have positive price momentum across the futures in the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Dow, and also the Russell. That should translate into good positive price momentum into Australia's market, Japan's market, and China's market. And later on, of course, the European markets. Preparing for volatility is a really important aspect of your trading and investing career. For example, if we look into row 3, which is the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Dow, and the Russell, what we see here is a lot of volatility. It's up, down, and all over the place, but this is the volatility where we make a lot of money. And we can see that we had a retracement back to this very short-term support level and we bounced. A lot of people think that DeepSeek just popped up in the last 24 hours. It did not. It's been around for a long time. And when we look at the NASDAQ, we're seeing some positive price momentum, but we need to see follow through. If we don't see follow through, that could be really quite problematic. We also need to see follow through from the Russell 2000. Keep your eyes on the futures today and also across the next 24 hours. Row 4 looks into individual stocks, and we can see Apple was just retracing whilst Tesla went for it, Microsoft went for it, and Nvidia went for it as well. Nvidia's coming up to a lot of structural overhead resistance, just bear that in mind. The other thing to note is MicroStrategy follows Bitcoin's directional momentum. If Bitcoin is coming down, MicroStrategy is coming down. If Bitcoin is going up, MicroStrategy is going up. Just be aware of the structural levels on MicroStrategy if you're trading or investing in it. Looking into the crypto market, the thing that we can see total crypto market cap in terms of row 5, we came up to this structural overhead resistance after finding support. We just wavered around those structural levels and we've tried to challenge that 3.48 trillion, but momentum is coming out of the crypto market at the current time. Now, why is this? It's largely because of Bitcoin. The structure that it's experiencing around the 102 level is a bit of a headache. We did find a level of structural support and we filled these fresh air gaps, these CTKS gaps, positive and negative. It's very important to know where their gaps are because price can move very quickly up and down inside it. You can see it just here. Look at that. That is the power of a CTKS gap. Bitcoin does have a lot of overhead structural resistance inside its price chart, so that means it needs to get through it. Yesterday, there were such good gains to have been made if you were buying this negative price descent. If you did and you turned over some profits, please let me know in the comments. And very, very well done, because that's kind of hard. When the markets are coming down, everybody is screaming 1929, GFC. And when price is going up, everybody's saying moon, Lambo. It's enough to drive normal people absolutely stark raving mad. That's why we look at the structure. Now we can see a weakening here, but there are some internal structural levels on total crypto market cap. But unfortunately on Bitcoin, there's a negative CTKS gap. We may find that it could come down rather quickly, but don't forget to think in a wave, because price is always moving in a wave-based function, always coming up and down. When we think normally as people who don't think in wave-based functions, we see it coming down, it must be going to zero. We see it going up, it must be going to $1 million, billion, quadrillion dollars. Yeah, that's not the way it works. Therefore, just keep your eyes on row 6 and row 7 because it can give some insight into where Bitcoin and of course the totality of the crypto market could be going. It will show you if strength is coming in or leaving the crypto market. It's very important. That's why we look a bit more deeply into row 6. When we look at row 6, this was the sell down in terms of the VIX spike and the DXY spikes. Look at this. Did we get a degree of recovery? Absolutely, but because we hit total crypto market cap resistance as well as Bitcoin resistance, we're seeing a pull down here in price. Remember, price is always moving in a wave. Just because it comes down doesn't mean it can't go up. The key is to look across as many charts as you can. That's why in the profiting course you will get all of these templates absolutely free. We can also see when looking at Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, we know that Bitcoin is in a negative CTKS gap. It could fall rather quickly, but it could also bounce rather quickly. A lot of people say, oh no, the fall, and they panic. And then when they panic, they see it going up, then they buy. You must be aware of your structural levels. Ethereum Classic looking a little weak, and of course Binance Coin looking weak as well. But always think in terms of price waves. Looking into row 7, which is ADA, Solana, Dogecoin, and XRP, what I've done here is to just put the structural levels on. We saw ADA yesterday doing absolutely brilliantly, but if you had in mind where the structure was, look at all of these sellers. All the sellers are inhabiting all of these levels. It is little wonder that we're being pushed down. That is the difference between understanding structure and not understanding it. And if we look at XRP, currently it has a negative CTKS gap literally all the way down to 272. That would catch a lot of people by surprise. Now, what could push XRP down? Of course, it's Bitcoin's gravitational pull. A lot of people think that Bitcoin and the alts have no association with them. Well, you should tell that to Solana's chart, or for example, ADA's chart, or Dogecoin's chart, or XRP's chart, or any other crypto's chart. Just overlay Bitcoin. Don't forget, this is on a 5-minute basis. It just shows you how very important that relationship is. And literally, we're the only people who talk about it. Just be aware that XRP, if it gets going, it's going to create some huge bargains. Is this a problem? Absolutely not. This is fantastic. Knowing where the structure is, where people will just say, whoa, what a bargain. That is what you want to know. In fact, you must know it. Knowing where the structural levels are is vitally important because the buyers will step in when you've got heavy buying structure, and the sellers will step in when you've got selling structure. So when we look at the memes, we look at Dogecoin, that is currently selling down, but we understand it because Bitcoin is moving through that negative CTKS gap. Don't forget, it can move through it and rebound as well. Unfortunately, SHIB is under a level of fairly strong structural resistance, and Pepe was doing well and decided, yeah, I'm out of here. Keeping your eye on the upper bank and the lower bank is a really good idea, and this blue line you can see just here. This is Bitcoin's directional gravitational pull. See how it pushes the crypto market around. Ah, Bitcoin, you're a bully. I'd like to get you to a stage where you can absolutely look at a chart like this and say something like this. Bitcoin is in a negative CTKS gap. It could fall quite substantially. That means that we could have negative downside momentum, but it could also recover quickly. You always need to think in terms of wave-based structure. You know XRP is in a negative CTKS gap as well. Pepe is under strong structural resistance at the current time, but that could turn around if Bitcoin decides to just get some support and rebound. Don't forget, price is always moving in a wave. You can see it all the time. Look at this. Bitcoin comes up, Bitcoin goes down. Bitcoin comes up, Bitcoin goes down. You get the idea. Think in terms of waves, not drop-offs, not explosions, but that also happens over time. But when you come down to the smaller bases, this is a 15-minute chart, what you can see is it's always going up and down. Just don't automatically assume, oh, this thing is going to zero. It's not. Many people say, I just can't ride these waves. I'm going to be an investor. The problem with investing is by definition emotional trading. When you see it up here, when things are going well, you'll buy. And when you see everybody talking about a 1929 crash, a GFC crash, you'll sell. That's not investing, that's emotional trading. If you're going to be a trader, know how to do it properly. Timing the market is important. A lot of people say, you can't time the market. Hell yeah, you can time the market. Of course you can. You just need to know where the structure is and how to look through charts. Always remember rule number 1, only knowledge creates profit. It's the same with everything in life. If you don't know what you're doing, your results will not be good. Unfortunately, a lot of people in financial markets say, oh, I don't know how this finance stuff works. I don't have the knowledge. I'll just give my money to someone else. Please don't do that. You need to learn. Financial literacy is going to be an absolutely critical skill in the age of AI. There will be massive volatility across financial markets. You can profit like no one's business, but you must know what you're doing. If you would like to just inquire about a partial scholarship to the Profiting from CTKS Method Structure course, I've done all of my trades here in a down market because I wanted to show you how you can take advantage of negative volatility to do incredibly well. And there are a lot of trades inside this particular course. Remember, if you can make money going long at spot as the market comes down like this, you are an expert. That's what you need to be, because making money in a down market is relatively straightforward if you know what to do, what to look out for, and you obey the rules. Also, you need to keep your emotions in check because your emotions will self-sabotage you. One of the things that I talk about inside this particular course is RTP, or Retail Trade Perfection. Retail Trade Perfection you can see absolutely everywhere. RTP goes like this. It always works. It never fails. It's like cheating. All that kind of stuff. And the problem is, what they're talking about is absolute rubbish. It's like, oh, this indicator that is a simple moving average, it just always works. It doesn't. Nothing always works. You have to stack probabilities. You have to understand how to break out of RTP, how to get out of trapped. When you're trapped in a bad investment or a bad trade, how do you get out of that? How do you get the market's permission? How do you do retracement trading? How do you have day-to-day guidance on what you're doing? There's so many things that you'll need to know. And you only know those if you have the knowledge. Inside week 3, you'll literally look over my shoulder as I take you through the thought processes. In yesterday's video, when we looked at Bitcoin, we were just here, and we had all of this overhead structure, just playing in from 102,298 to 103,373. And what did we see? This structure proved to be a massive headache for Bitcoin. We're coming down into this negative CTKS gap. The next level of structural support is 99,798 and a lower one at 98,384. The difference between the CTKS method and everything else, you already know the real buy and sell levels inside the market. This means that you need to get really, really good at looking through the charts. For example, when you look at this chart, you see the VIX coming down. That's what I see. You see the DXY coming down. As this goes up, you know the differences between the row 1, row 2, row 3, and how it all stacks together. You cannot look at the Bitcoin chart and determine where Bitcoin is going. You need to look through the Bitcoin chart. And I'll teach you the skill of looking through charts in the Profiting from CTKS Method course. Always remember that every positive habit makes you. If it's positive, it's going to advance you. If it's negative, it's going to push you backwards. Please let me know in the comments what positive habits have really helped you to move forward with your trading and investing. I'm sure that would help a lot of people out. I'm really looking forward to your comments. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now.